Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a perspective that really flips a common idea on its head. It suggests that while salvation is a totally free gift, eternal life is something else. It's a reward you have to earn. And you'll see, that one distinction changes absolutely everything about what it means to believe.
So, let's start with that big question. What does it really mean to be saved? You know, it seems simple enough, but according to the source material we're looking at, the answer has two very different parts. One is a free gift, no strings attached, and the other, well, the other's a prize you have to strive for.
So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start by pulling apart salvation and reward. Then, we're going to look at what belief really means. Is it a thought or an action? After that, we'll see why life is considered a proving ground, and we'll wrap it all up with the big takeaway.
All right, let's jump right into the first big idea, separating salvation from the final reward. Honestly, this is the key that unlocks this entire way of thinking. You gotta get this part first.
So right out of the gate, the source material draws a really sharp line in the sand. It says, look, salvation through Yeshua, that's free. It was on the table before you were even born. But reward and judgment, that's a whole different conversation. And your works, your actions, are tied directly to all of that.
And to really make this stick, the source uses this great analogy of a race. Think about it. Salvation isn't the trophy you get for finishing. Nope. It's the free ticket that lets you into the stadium to even run the race in the first place. Eternal life, on the other hand, that's the grand prize at the finish line. That's what you earn based on how you actually run.
So the crucial thing to see here is that one thing makes the other possible, but they are not the same. This perspective really pushes back on the idea that just accepting the gift is the end of the story. No, it argues that's just the beginning. That's the starting gun.
All right, so that leads us to a really big question. If works are involved in earning a reward, what does that mean for the word belief? Is it just something we think in our heads, or is it, something more tangible?
To get this, we have to go back to the original Hebrew word, emunah. This isn't just about mentally agreeing with a set of facts. Emunah is a belief so deep, so real, that you literally can't separate it from your actions. It's the point where your unseen faith becomes visible proof through what you do.
And the book of Hebrews is packed with examples of this. Take Noah. It doesn't say that by belief Noah thought a flood was coming. No, it says by belief he prepared an ark. His belief wasn't a fuzzy feeling. It was hammers and nails and years of work while everyone else thought he was crazy. The work was the evidence.
And you see this exact same pattern with Abraham. His belief wasn't just sitting around and pondering. It says, by belief, he obeyed when he was called to go out. He didn't just think about it, he packed up his entire life and walked into the total unknown. That action, that obedience, was his belief.
And again with Moses, it's the exact same story. He's given this really strange instruction. Put lamb's blood on your door. And by belief, he performed the Passover. The action and the belief were one and the same.
And the book of James, or Yaakov as it's called in Hebrew, just wraps this all up perfectly. From this viewpoint, you can't just say you're a believer. Talk is cheap. Your works, your actions, that's what shows your belief to the world. They're the fruit on the tree.
Okay, so if our belief is supposed to show up in what we do, that brings up a pretty big question, right? Why is life so hard sometimes? What's the point of all the struggles, the tests, the trials we all face?
Well, that's where this powerful idea of life as a proving ground comes in. It's not about random chaos or meaningless suffering. The idea here is that life is actually designed to be an arena, a place to test and prove the quality, the genuineness of what we say we believe.
Trials are seen as a refiner's fire. And the point of a fire isn't to destroy the gold, right? It's to burn away all the junk, all the impurities, leaving behind something pure and valuable. The struggles we face are meant to do the same thing to our belief, to burn away the dross, so what's left is genuine and worthy of honor.
So the process breaks down like this. It's actually pretty straightforward. A trial shows up in your life, that trial forces you to act, and your action proves what your belief is really made of. The result, if you pass the test, is honor.
And this way of thinking also completely reframes that popular idea of being born again. It's not seen as a one-time event where you get a status and you're done. Instead, it's the start of a process. It's about being born into a whole new way of thinking, a new mindset that then leads to new actions. It's a journey, not a destination you arrive at.
Okay, let's bring this all home. We've pulled apart the gift and the reward. We've defined belief as an action. We've looked at life as a proving ground. So, what does it all mean? What's the big takeaway here?
I mean, that's the bottom line, isn't it? Why does any of this matter in our day-to-day lives? What actually changes if you start to see things this way?
Well, the answer is a complete mindset shift. You go from being a passive person who just receives a gift to being an active participant in a relationship, in a covenant. You become someone who has to put in the effort, who has to strive to stay on that narrow path.
I love how the source puts it here. It says Yeshua only did the part that was impossible for you to do. He covered that. But that doesn't mean your part is erased. You still have a job to do. You still have a race to run.
And really, this next quote just says it all. The whole point of the free gift wasn't to get you to sit on the sidelines and do nothing. It was to empower you, to get you off the bench and onto the starting line so you could begin to run.
And that leaves us with a pretty challenging question to chew on, doesn't it? If our belief isn't just a thought in our head, but is actually shown by what we do, what story is your life telling? What is it proving?
Thank you for your time. Have a blessed day.